My name's Karen Hugh and I'm the head of the Quality Assurance Department at 30 Technology. So my role actually is to cover anything to do with compliance, both for medical device and pharmaceutical activities. We're actually covering all of the GXPs here because we do have a laboratory within 30 Tech as well. Because we have a medical device that is under development, we're working to ISO 13485 and then all of the associated medical device regulations. And where that impacts me as well is the fact that we have to work to ISO 14155 for good clinical practice as well. So for our pharma product, we're obviously working under any of the regulations that are for good clinical practice. So that can be either the FDA regulations, it can be the UK statutory instruments, or it can be any of the European regulations. We have 2 products in development and we want to get them onto the market. So we look for ways of doing things faster and smarter. The quality culture here is let's do it right first time. Let's challenge the processes, let's have a process that's going to work for the company, and let's make sure that everybody understands that they have that commitment to quality that they all have to follow. In a company that works virtually, like many of our staff do, you need to make sure that they're accessing the right controlled procedure, so the right version, it's the right one that's been issued. You also need to make sure that people are trained on it, and without electronic systems that actually becomes very difficult. And the biggest challenge I had when I first started at 30 was everything was very paper based, and then it would be creating a document paper, signing it, and then having to distribute it somehow without any real control behind it. There was no metadata that said to me who's got it, what version it was. I had to actually go into the documents and check my emails to see who I'd sent it to, check to see if they'd sent back a form. So when I started, I said, you know, if it's going to be me, then it's got to be something that I can control and I can look at easily electronically. So that's why we looked to see what systems were available to us that we could use. But also understanding we're a very small company, we didn't need all of the big pharma equivalents. We needed something that was quick, agile and smart to use within the company. But it also needs to be not just suitable for use, but suitable from a cost perspective. It had to be something that was intuitive for people to use. I'm not saying you can't do things by paper. What I am saying is that in order to really be in control and free up your time to do the real quality work, you need to have something that helps you in the background. Now, you could do that by people. You could employ assistants and admin to help you do the administration of a paper system. But what I've done is I've employed an e-system to be my administrator. And the administration side of that means that I don't need the people. I can actually do that myself, and then I can actually still do quality because the computer is doing the work for me. I approached 3 companies and I just said, this is what I want, this is what I want to see, and basically I wanted to see how it was going to work in my environment. I want to know that I'm going to like you, and I want to know that we're going to be able to work together. Obviously, yes, I want the system to be working, but I wanted to know that it was going to work for what I wanted. I've used EQMSs before, so I understood what an EQMS was. I understood what I wanted it to do. I understand I audit computer system validation, so I understand the computer system validation aspects of what I would need to do. I obviously wanted a system where we didn't have to do too much working. So I seriously Googled, and Qualio was one of the hits that I had in the Google search. Qualio was able to talk to me about how Qualio would fit inside our company, and that's users. It's about the cost it's going to be to the company. It's about scalability. So what do we use the system for? So we use it for our policies, SOPs and work instructions. We put every single training event that is run is done through the system. So everything that is training will all go through and it hits people's training records. The thing that Qualio does really well is obviously smart linking, so everything is smart linked together. So for example, if an activity is made up of 10 events, there's always a cover sheet where the 10 events are smart linked together, so that it allows us to be able to pull one record which then links you back out to all of the associated records. We're running all of our release of product for medical device out to the site. So we've set up forms and templates and have an SOP that we follow, which says who's got to do what. We've got our non-conformances. We've put our some of the audit observations in there at the moment as we're starting to build that section up a bit more. We've got our deviations process. We literally run virtually the whole company through there. I think we've got 27 non-conformances overall, but you can actually see very easily what state they're in, how many steps have been opened and closed. It's all very visual and visible, but it's also very quick to find the information. You haven't got to go and find the latest spreadsheet and do your own review of it. It's actually all there for you. You don't actually realise that it possibly would have taken you half a day to do what you're now doing in 5 minutes. The other thing that was really important to me, and was the thing that really shone through in purchasing and setting up the system, was how much support was given. And even now, even though we've been using the system for 15 months now, we still get really good, fast support. We get helpful support. People have started to embrace Qualio in even more because they actually see that people are listening to them. So it's not just a faceless company. It's actually a company who listens to their users and helps their users. So that's the other thing for us that's been really, really good. I probably would have had to have 2 or 3 people headcount to help me if I was running it all paper-based. So what I did was I looked at the cost of the EQMS to the company, and what's actually happened for us is that the cost of the EQMS is only equivalent to me having one full-time equivalent from a salary and all of the aspects from an HR point of view. What it doesn't take into consideration is how much training and effort I would have to do to that person. It doesn't take into consideration their experience. It doesn't take into consideration any other costs that are associated with actually having a human being in place. I joined for DateWise in November 2020. I contacted Qualio 2 weeks later. We went live with our system in the middle of December, and we actually had all the users working in the system from the January, and we actually gained our stage 2 certification in the middle of July. So basically, without Qualio we would never have done that, because it allowed us to have the infrastructure and the ability to push everybody through what they needed to do in order to be ready for an assessment by a notified body. I don't think that we would have the control on our documentation even if I had 5 assistants in the same way as we have at the moment. Everybody in the company has access to the EQMS. Everybody can search for documents that they're allowed to see. Because it's controlled, I can see what's happening. So I can go in very easily with an oversight to know what's going on at any given time. I can chase up if I see something's held. If that was paper-based with humans, I just wouldn't have that oversight. You ask them that, they always say to me about Qualio, they always go, you just talk about Qualio the whole time. I think half of the reason that everybody else likes Qualio is because I get such a buzz out of it.